Quite apart from having trees that are special because they've reached a great age, Ayrshire also has a number of unusual trees in terms of the way they've grown, things that have happened to them and so on. The Dawn Redwood tree in the middle of the Coronation Garden at Spurs was planted in 1953. It's the oldest of its species anywhere in the world outside of its native China. It was brought back by one of the ex-pupils from the school who joined the Arnold Arboretum expedition to China, where this tree had been rediscovered. It was thought to be a fossil only, but in the 1940s, some specimens were discovered, taken back and identified as being this lost tree. So it's what we call a living fossil. These two hawthorn trees have been grafted together to form what looks like the shape of a heart. They stand on the site of an old ruined farm above the Lynn Glen, and it looks as though this would have been visible perhaps from the kitchen window. The little dots here are found on many other tree bark, except here they're particularly obvious on this holly. They're called lenticels, and they're used by the trees to breathe through. That is, they take oxygen in and release carbon dioxide out through them. The unusual things here are these sphaeroblasts. These strange circular structures seem to have been normally be dormant buds, which only come into action if the tree is damaged. But here they've started to grow, and they've produced a circular woody structure. At the very tip of them you can see the remains of a bud. It's thought it may be caused by a virus or by bacteria. These are the fossilized remains of the tree trunks of a species of giant club moss or giant tree fern known as lepidodendron. They date from about 360 million years ago, and they grew up to 160 feet in height. They formed a significant part of the coal measures. The scales on the outside are actually where leaves have become detached. You can see them at low tide as a group of them within Saltcoats Harbour. They are thought to have become extinct due to competition with the newly evolved gymnosperms, that is, the cedars, the firs, the pines, and so on. Inocculated trees are sometimes known as gemels, which means a pair. They're also sometimes called marriage trees because they've joined together. What has happened here is that two trees have grown close to each other, rubbed their barks to the point where the layer, which is called the cambium, which causes growth, joins, and the two of them then fuse together. Often you find that if one tree grows across another, one of the branches will actually die off. You find them in the smooth tree species, such as the ashes, the beech, and the hornbeam, and so on. This magnificent sycamore tree grows on the edge of an old quarry near Auchenskief, not far from Dalry. It's probably one of the oldest sycamore trees in Ayrshire. It looks though originally it's formed from a coppice tree. That is, a tree was allowed to grow, but it was cut right down almost to ground level, and then new growth occurred, so you have several trunks. From the side of the quarry, the root stocks look very peculiar. What seems to have happened is that as the rock has fallen away, roots have become exposed. Also new roots have grown, and it's given a support to itself. It reminds me of the tree that features in Sleepy Hollow. Wych trees are found in Wales and Scotland and also northern England. They seem to have developed from the belief that each tree contained a tree spirit, and if you gave it a gift, it would grant you your wish. And the gifts were particularly acceptable with metal, particularly such things as coins and nails. Badgers scratching trees are normally found some distance from the actual set. It's possible to do with territoriality. It may also be simply just to clean or to sharpen their claws. Another suggestion is certainly for some tree species that what they're doing is also eating the bark, which may contain sugars. It causes considerable damage to the tree. It has what's called callus growth. That's trying to repair the wound, but often fungus gets in and it shortens the life of the tree considerably. Burrs, or as Americans call them, burls, are found on both hardwood trees and also on conifers. They can be quite small, but they can also be extremely large. They don't appear to do much harm to the tree itself. It's not entirely sure what causes them. Sometimes it may be physical damage, but may also be things like bacteria, fungi, or even viruses. The actual location is very variable. It can be on the main trunk or on side branches. Sometimes there's large numbers of them. You can even find them on the roots. The wood becomes very twisted internally, interesting patterns within the tree itself. That makes them very valuable to wood carvers.